Hello, fellow hitchhikers. Today I'm going through the white paper of an upcoming blockchain-based game called Solarbots. It's more than just a game, but we'll start looking at it from a gaming perspective. I'm very excited about this project, and I hope you enjoy this little journey through the white paper. It is 48 pages long. It's quite a well thought out, developed white paper. Some of the other games I've looked at recently, just sort of playing around in, they'll only be a few pages long, but it goes into some details. I first came across Solarbots, of course, hearing some clues through some Axie-related connections, and came across their Twitter. And once I found the Twitter of Solarbots, I discovered who was following the project. And at that point, it was just a small list of very, very key names. And I realized this is the beginning of something great. And shortly after, the website was revealed and the white paper came out. And let's take a look. So before we go too far into all of the aspects of the game, it is important to realize that the developers of this Solarbots are looking at the whole picture. It's a 10-year, multi-decade project, and they're taking the time to set up the lore behind it. And so I'll just briefly go through a little bit of the lore. There's 3 main factions, and when you join the Discord of Solarbots, one of the first things I would recommend doing is joining a faction. You don't have to do it right off the top. You can wait and kind of read around, but there's 3 to choose from. That's the Lacrian Empire, which is kind of a wealthy theocracy. The Ilskagard, which is a sort of engineering, northern permafrost kind of region. And then there's Arborea, which is like a nature-loving, magical kind of faction. Now, when you choose your faction and within the game itself, you don't have to worry too much about that affecting your gameplay per se. It's more going to be based on style and community and people that you connect with. So, you don't have to overthink the decision. I chose the Ilskagard. I like the aspect that they always honor their word. Each one of them kind of have a bad side. There's no good and bad. There's sort of each faction has their positive attributes, but they also have their negative. There's something subtle written into each one. Appears to be a peace-loving, down-to-earth society. Brutish engineers who always honor their word, and you can take that to be kind of in a literal way that may be sometimes a negative thing, and so on. So the context is these 3 factions are forced to abandon generations of turmoil and strife against each other in order to fight a common enemy. A common enemy makes friends of enemies, and in the process of this fighting, they have to, or they end up developing these Solarbots, these mighty robots that are powered by soul stones with a single purpose, and that's to form a front line against the Abyss, all these forces that have come from the Abyss. The universe itself is set in Eld, and I believe each of the factions and the people within Eld are called Eldians. The developers have taken the time to form a lore and to think about the context and the setting in which to frame the game, and they're very game-focused. They want games to tell a story that entertain and evoke emotion within the players. They're not just looking at this from I guess they're being driven by game first and blockchain as technology in order to support the game and the community that revolves around it. As opposed to some of the other projects that you see, they're focused more on the blockchain side of things first, as in how can we, make a quick flip? How can we extract maximum profits in the shortest amount of time? And you don't get that feel whatsoever from the white paper. You definitely get a sense of how are they going to utilize the blockchain? How can this be player owned? How can profits be made available to the contributors, players as owners? You definitely get all of that aspect, but it's not the driving force. Game and quality is the driving force. So they're trying to create a really immersive gaming experience that's fun, but also has an open economy so that people can profit as well. So play and earn. There will be lots of different roles within it, so it won't just be focused on like one type of gameplay, and that's the only way in order to benefit. But they, as you go through the white paper, you can see that there's roles for crafters, there's roles for guild masters, there's roles for just people that will help support the economy, liquidity providers, and so on. The game itself, though, will start with a player versus environment. A PvE will be the beginning and will be that sort of proof of concept. So that's where the game will begin. And then as time rolls and the roadmap unveils, more and more things will be available for crafters, artists, builders, engineers, and so on. The game will offer lots of opportunities for other things as well. You can have your decentralized finance, do DeFi, and some audio-visual media, both in the metaverse, the virtual area, and also in the in real life, in the tangibles. There's some project ideas coming up later on in their white paper talking about making some manga comics or maybe a real-life board game or card game or addition to the virtual world. So very excited about the different ways that the community can expand in due time. So one thing, when you look not only just at the original people supporting the project and going behind the project, you will also see that there's been enough of a financial raise that there's no pressure on the developers to try and extract some quick money from the player base. There will be some Genesis sort of original sales, some Mark 0 sales that'll happen, and some Mark 1 sales. Well, at least the way I see it, at 0.2 is the predicted cost, probably on the ETH main chain, maybe on a side chain, but either way, at 0.2 ETH as a original startup joining in. Yeah, there's some cost there, but that is small relative to the future potential and value of those. So the developers are not looking to get as much money out of the beginning players as they can and do a rug pull and take off with the money. They're more opening up the opportunity for as many players that want to be part of it at the beginning to commit and be part of something. So excited to see that they already have decent financing. They already have decent advisors. They already have lots of people supporting. And I'll show you the website at the very end of this just to show you some of these individuals that are backing this project. So the first stage will be measured in our ability to launch a Genesis bot sale with the assets that people want to own. So we'll see how this first sale goes. I mean, if nobody buys it, then you know that you don't have a player base forming or a community forming. But I don't think they'll have that problem. Shortly thereafter, Success will be shipping a unique MVP, and I had to look that up. It's a minimum viable product. So they're going to deliver, I think, basically the beginning of 2022, a combat game, player versus environment, that actually is somewhat fun to play. So what are Solarbots themselves? The whole project called Solarbots, so we should take a moment to just take a look at these. So we have the three factions, Arborea, which is the nature-loving, Ilskagard, these sort of brutish engineers from the north, and the Lacrian, which is kind of your religious Puritan. In terms of Solarbot customization, the factions offer only visual differences, allowing the players to freely choose based on whichever style they like best. So the lore and ethical values of each faction will inspire the style of each faction, rather than giving them an edge in combat, depending on their choices, one that the player might regret later on. So here's an example of a Solarbot, and depending on your faction and depending on what you do, you might be able to change the visual appearance of these Solarbots, or at least the visual appearance will be tied to the faction. In terms of actual play, your left arm, your right arm, your left leg, your right leg, your base, your head, these kind of things will be based on skill and upgrades that you can do within the game. It won't be based on which faction that you've joined. The Lacrian Empire will draw themes on the European Renaissance, which this kind of feels like it might be a Lacrian example. But anyways, Ilskagard will be industrial steampunk. This is the one I chose. And Arborea will lean on trees, vines, roots, and sort of a nature. This does not feel like an Arborea example there. So as I kind of mentioned, there are various parts to the Solarbots themselves. I think I counted 8. We've got the base, and this can level through PvE combat. So you're not going to be able to change the base just by crafting. It'll be based on actual combat. The arms and legs are divided into a left and right, and can be used for offense or defense. The shoulders is one single unit. These body parts can also add damage abilities used for utility such as crown control or buffs. So we'll have some sort of dynamics within the group. This is a little bit new to me. I really like this idea though. And the head determines the personality and nature. Here's an outline of the Solarbot and all the different parts. So you'll be able to upgrade all of these aspects either through crafting or through player experience. So it will be a turn-based tactical combat where the player controls a team of 4 Solarbots, and when you do the original mint, or I imagine as time goes on for the other mints, it will generate the 4 NFTs, basically a tank, a healer, and 2 damage dealers. And that will be your base team, so you get the 4 NFTs within the mint. And as time goes on, we might come up with different play design where you decide to have, 2 healers and 1 damage dealer, or maybe you go all 4 damage dealers with each one having a little bit of self-heal or heal the one Solarbot beside them. So there'll be different play styles that come out, they're different metas, but at the start, it'll be 4 Solarbots that have these various different roles. And like I mentioned earlier, and it said there, it's going to start with player versus environment and then go into player versus player later on. So when you win battles, you will earn soul stones. And as you want to progress through the storyline, a lot of the things are going to come out through the storyline of play. So it'll start with a player versus environment. You'll earn soul stones. You'll upgrade your Solarbots in order to be able to do the next quest or the next conquest. And then as the story unfolds and Mark II Solarbots become available, it'll be connected to the storyline. As land becomes available, it'll be connected to the storyline. So playing through the story and upgrading along the adventure will be not only enjoyable just as gameplay, but it'll kind of reveal the roadmap. I really like that idea. It's like, things will be released when they're ready and they're developed well. They're not going to be released prematurely, but also as you play through the storyline, you're effectively playing through the roadmap and can see, I'm so excited for this next part. And how is this going to play out? How is this going to be unveiled? I think that's a great idea as opposed to just a game and then a roadmap over here that's disconnected. So nice synergy going on there. So as a blockchain game and player owned, we're going to have open economies, which is what I love about blockchain games. And so all crafting activities will incur a fee that can be paid for with Fragments of the Abyss, FOA. So the FOA is the main governance token within the project. So we have the souls, which is what you earn within the game. So you mint it within the game and you burn it within the game, doing various upgrades. And there'll be other ways to burn as well. Then you have the FOA, which is the Fragments of the Abyss token. And this is your main governance token. And you use it to pay a portion of the fees and transactions. There's definitely an Axie Infinity overlap here. It's almost like taking all the things that were learned from Axie Infinity and using that as the starting point and base. So the lessons learned from Axie can be started right at the beginning here. So you have this mint token that's being minted and is burned within the gameplay, and then you have this overarching project game token. Solarbots with specific body parts are what will allow players to play the various non-combat minigames around the crafting parts from other resources. So there's going to be different minigames that you do on sort of like, I guess you might call them side quests or side jobs as you earn various resources and do various tasks. So at the beginning, there's going to be some soul crafting, sort of 3 to 5 days for the different crafting parts. I haven't looked too much into exactly what's going on here, but there will be some things that you can do to customize your Solarbots, especially at the start. And the Grand Magus. The Grand Magus allows users to upgrade their body parts from levels 1 to 20 and will improve the stats of the body part, and it can also purify the corruption of the void. So lots of things to learn, lots of things to look forward to in the gameplay. One thing to point out is that skill and not luck will determine the outcomes. So when doing these various upgrades, it won't be, put the ingredients in, hope that it works out, and see if luck was on your side. But actually it'll be based on skill of some sort, which I'm excited about and nervous about. I find that my skill in a lot of these games is never quite what it needs to be relative to other people, and so sometimes I get a little nervous about skill-based only. But if it's just a matter of doing certain things and completing certain tasks, well, then I usually can manage that skill. But me having the fast reflexes and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. I guess I'm slow. Jewel crafting, that's exciting. So you'll be able to earn uncut jewels and then craft the jewels in the game. Carpentry, making furniture and various enhancements. Blacksmithing, these are the first three sort of developed abilities and roles that a person can play. And then in time, gardening, mineral gathering. I'm excited about mineral gathering. It's always fun to find gold and silver and whatever other minerals will be in the game. Building, logging, and so on. So there's going to be lots of additional roles continually added. We've got a great game economy, tokenomics here, where you can see there's a variety of roles and a variety of ways to earn within the game. So from crafting to farming to taking things out of the virtual economy. And this is new. I haven't really seen this elsewhere. So you take some of the tokens out and you burn them for something in sort of in real life, maybe a manga comic or something like that you want to buy. You can actually spend it, or a plushie or a little figurine of your character. And I don't know if the tokens would be burned. It only has a one arrow, so I think that they would be burned in order to obtain that object. So anyways, that's a new idea that I haven't really seen before. I quite like it. I think is it one of the primate profile picture project. I think you can burn their resource in order to get shoes or hoodies. So I think it is happening in other projects. It's not ones that I've been directly involved in. So that's I like this idea. I like this connection to the real world, and the only way you can get these tokens is from within the game, and that's the only way you can then get these objects out in real life. So love it. So the public governance token sale will be open to metaverse participants who recognize the potential of Solarbots metaverse and want to get involved at an early stage. There's a bit of a vetting process here. It's not just going to be open up to those that have the deepest pockets and they can just buy up all of the governance tokens. It won't just be a random airdrop based on who can create as many qualifying wallets and get all of the airdrop. It's going to be based on involvement and people that are actually interested in the project. And I think in part because of the timeline on this is you want people that are going to be willing to hold for years, not just a few days or a couple months. And that'll bring some stability to the project as you start early with the people that believe in what's happening. So excited about that. That means I might have a chance to qualify to be able to be part of the token sale. So Souls tokens, that's the game-based token, and that's what's minted and used burned within the game. You mint it by beating levels, beginning in the PvE, and lots of ways that it can be burned, from crafting to purchases and sales within the game. And as I mentioned, that idea here, gain early access to content such as Solarbots manga, anime, merchandise. I think this is down the road, but I think this is a really cool idea. There will be a treasury, and so a portion of sales and a portion of different transactions will be going to the treasury, and eventually that can be distributed back out to players or used for various things based on the vote, because it's going to have a governance token for voting. And of course, the foundation itself, controlled by Solarbot Labs, they need to get paid for all of their hard work and having a vested interest in the game developing and growing. I think this is specifically in here just for Baranar, one of the advisors and one of the advisors of Solarbots, and of course AxiChat with Enjoy. And so we've got some examples of tokens here. We've got wood and infused wood, herbs and diffused herbs. So these are some examples of tokens that would be developed as the game evolves and you get the ability to collect things and make things. Okay, so a little bit of a roadmap here. The Mark 0, these are going to be non-production prototypes. These will pretty much are what are released by Solarbot Labs in order to introduce body parts and base types for the game itself. These, if you own a Mark 0, then you can stake it like FOA. So these are going to be like your Genesis kind of NFTs, your very beginning originals. Having one of these means you never sell it and you can use it as your profile pick. Mark 1, there'll be 40,000 bots, which really is 10,000 sales. So this standard 10,000 seems to be a number within many of these NFT projects. So there'll be 10,000 at mint at 0.2 ETH. And each of these mints will reveal 4 Solarbots, as described earlier with the different roles. And Mark 1 Solarbots are going to be something you're going to want to keep. If there's any flippers that kind of work their way in and, buy them at 0.2 and then try and sell them at 0.1 each so that they can get a total of 0.4 and double their money, I would recommend, no financial advice, but I intend to buy them as many as I can and deal with any of the flippers at the beginning, because in time, they will emit a set amount of FOA tokens per day after 1 year. So you have to hold them for the year. Maybe what will happen is there'll be some flippers that come in and then after a month or so realize that they don't want to wait the whole year and the price will start dropping on OpenSea. Scoop them up, because if this project takes off and FOA tokens actually represent the game, then they're going to go up in value and you're going to be having a passive income simply by holding the Mark 1 Solarbots. Mark 2 don't yield any FOA. Okay, then there'll be Mark 3, Mark 4, and so on. So there'll be Solarbots that continue to come out, introducing new rarities, new parts, that kind of stuff. Hey, land. Land won't be at the beginning. It'll be revealed within gameplay in a logical way. However, it will be a place to farm, socialize, take part in adventures, build businesses, guilds, and be able to have guild halls. So very excited about this. Want to be able to get some land when the opportunity comes out. I run a small scholarship with Axie Infinity, and so to be able to have one more area that the scholars can play, or one more way that I can support people, I don't really support them, but I can enable people to support themselves by earning in these player-owned economies, I think it's just great. So I mainly do the scholarship so that I can use my ability to be part of these things and enable other people to participate, play, add to the game by providing labor while at the same time extracting some income for themselves. I just think it's great. So excited about the potential of the scholarships, but also the guilds being able to play with like-minded individuals who enjoy these games as well. So lots of potential there with the land. And then, of course, SDK. Seeing that just makes my heart smile. That means we're looking at opening up to other experiences, other developers that can add to the game and give you your NFTs utility and use. There'll also be a built-in lending mechanism. This is what I was talking about with the scholarships, just ability to enable other people to be able to play and share the profits together. So really happy about that. There's a considering of a minimum 50-50. We have some exploiting that happens in other scenarios where people that are desperate just for an income are taken advantage of. So having some minimums, I like it, but it'll be decided by the governance of the token vote. So great. And then as time goes along, they're looking at other metaverse partnerships. And I'm quite curious as to even what blockchain they're going to end up on. This metaverse partnership with other projects may also be an indication of what blockchain or sidechain Solarbots ends up on in order to scale. Or we can see what happens with proof of stake and Ethereum main chain. Maybe it'll be able to stay on main chain. I'm going to jump, well, not just yet, but I'll jump over to the website to show the roadmap and some of the things. But there's some milestones here to take a look at. We've got the fundraising, which is done. And this, as I mentioned earlier, gives me some confidence. The project is stable. They have finances already. They have key backers. We don't need to worry about a rug pull or some big pump and dump. So end of the year 2021. Right now it's December 7th. So within the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a Genesis bot sale. I want to be part of this. Expecting it to be around 0.2. I think the first sale will be on a whitelist. So get on into the Discord, be active, make some videos, make some art. There was an art project that just happened, and lots of great submissions for some art. And I think everyone that submitted art there is now whitelisted. So get involved in the project, get on the whitelist, and be part of this early sale. Then in the beginning of 2022, so within the first 6 months, so it'll take a little while, after you've got some viable play happening, game story is progressing, there'll be a land sale. I want to be part of this as well, like I say, for the guilds and for future base to work out of. And then be a bit of a pause as they use profits and time and vision to hire more people, and then keep growing it. So we'll have our sales, we'll be able to play some sort of PvE kind of experience, get everything working, making sure it's working, then hire some people, get the land going, and continue to expand and grow, sort of bootstrap our way up. Check out the website, and a lot of this information I've already shared, but it's worth reading, going through. But I would recommend going down to the bottom of the website. And of course, they've got a little more detail on the roadmap. But take a look at who the founders are, the developers, and all the people contributing. I mean, I don't know all the names, but some of these names are very, very, very reputable and solid people to be involved. And they're allowing their name to be on this project. I feel confidence and excitement when I see who's actually doing this. Like this is great to be right at the very beginning of a project like this. No guarantees, might not work out, but hey, if I'm going to fail in a project, I want to fail with these people. So Solarbots, I am excited. I look forward to this 10-year journey. And I'm going to be sort of part of it the entire way through. It's not too often that you get to be with something right from the beginning. And as always, don't panic. Keep track of your towels. And thanks for sharing in this adventure with me.